Welcome to Kundalini Yoga. My name is Nahal Atma, and I'm here with Alika. And I just wanted you to kind of introduce yourself and share a little bit about your experience in yoga and different forms of therapy and how we can bring this into our daily experience.
Sure. Thank you, Nihal. So my name is Alika, and I'm a somatic therapist that works with psychedelics and sexuality. And a lot of the practices I do on a daily to help purify my body and can help others purify their body. One of the practices I'm going to be going over today is this Nauli practice, which is this stomach cleansing and kriya for cleansing the body. Disease live in our stomach, so if we can purify the stomach and our intestines and our organs, then we can have more aliveness and energy in our life. So that's a powerful practice that I'm going to show. And it also helps to contain your energy. It also helps to bring energy up the spine and to open up the third eye, and also bringing it down into the heart. So by creating these bandhas, we can fill up these internal energy centers of the body. So this practice can be done, I would say, 2 to 3 times a week. And how it's done is first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. That's really key and important. And another key components about the practice is when you exhale all the air out, we're creating a vacuum to suck the belly in, and we're not using our core ab muscles, but relaxing the stomach muscles so that we can massage the internal organs. And the other practice that I'm going to teach is this moon practice. And in life, especially here in the Bay Area, in Silicon Valley, a lot of people are like these type A personalities, and they're constantly going, and it's very yang energy. So the moon practice is about balancing the system out and creating more of this yin practice. So it's a lot slower, a lot smoother, lubricating the joints, integrating breath with movement, and bringing more of this calmness back into your life with this practice. And that you can do 2 to 3 times a week too. These are practices that take anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on how much time you have. So it doesn't take a lot of time, and it's more about consistency with this work.
Lovely. So, like you were talking about the practicality of just helping, this practice can help you to maintain a level of calmness throughout your day.
Mm-hmm.
So is this something that is practiced daily, or can you do it every other day, or what is the formula that you've learned and how it could be most effective for people?
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely with the Uddiyana Bandha practice, for me it took me about 6 months, and I did it probably 3 to 4 times a week, and I would spend about 15 to 30 minutes to do that practice before I could get the nauli. The stomach sucking in is easier, but getting the nauli of massaging and rolling the stomach took me around 6 months to do.
Oh wow! Of daily practice of the same technique,
The same.
or just increasing the levels of.
Once I really got good at creating the vacuum, that took me probably like 1 or 2 months, and then figuring out the pulling the rectus abdominis out and then rolling, that took me a little bit longer. So it was a consistent practice.
Got it. Okay.
But nowadays I don't do it as much. It's more of like I ate crappy food, or you eat like really rich food, you're going out to a party and that, that kind of stuff, then I'll do that practice the next day to help purify my system. So I don't do it every day anymore. It's more as needed for myself.
Got it. Because you have a regular regime of like diet and
Yes.
other exercises and other pranayamas, I'm sure.
Exactly. So this practice, it's also for me, if I want to build, like in my meditation practices, I can integrate this technique into other practices that I'm doing. So if I'm doing some Kundalini breathing, I can do these bandhas that I learned from this foundational practice that I have to
Understood.
awaken Kundalini and send energy up the spine by being able to really create that vacuum that most people don't learn or haven't been taught from a teacher, that because they don't know how to do it themselves. People talk about Uddiyana Bandha, but if they're not able to do that practice, they don't really know Uddiyana Bandha. You know, everyone says Uddiyana Bandha, but you know, if you can't
Really.
really suck it in, that's not Uddiyana Bandha.
Uh-huh.
So for me, this was a practice I learned from one of my teachers many years ago, who was like is a master. His name is Arkady Shushin, and he would always be like, "That sucks. You're terrible." So I was like, I really want to get this, and it took me 6 months, and I'm still practicing and still getting better at it because it's
levels.
different levels of depth and really of purifying your system. It's like a constant, you know, evolution.
And I think it's interesting how you mentioned like the Kundalini and rising that up the spine and the correlation between like the physical health and like the glandular system health in relation to these practices, but also having that experience of like energy moving in the body and
Yes, because Uddiyana means upward moving, and people talk it, but I don't see people doing it. And you go to these classes, teachers don't. They say Uddiyana, but you don't see. You can in downward dog, you can do this practice and really suck it up while you're in these practices, while you're on the exhale. So it really translates into the hidden practice that you don't see people doing, where they're building their energy, as opposed to a lot of these showy movements of people doing handstands and stuff like that, right? It's like nice, but it's not really doing that internal practice.
so nice that you're here to bring more of an awareness to this and to allow us to understand more of the fundamental kind of things to add so much to the practice as a whole.
Mm-hmm. For me, this is like the foundation
Mm-hmm.
that's not really taught,
Totally.
especially in the West.
Yeah, I agree. My experience has been like the same, largely. These Sanskrit words thrown around and kind of not really understood, and it's become more apparent through my practices that of the level of understanding via like how their voice sounds or how they're talking about these things, but yeah, largely it's not available. So
Yes, I mean, I think that's a lot of the real esoteric old teachings have been lost and watered down with like a lot of the practices that are happening nowadays.
hot yoga.
Yeah, hot
core
yoga.
power,
Yeah, not that not that there's nothing bad with that. I think it's good and accessible to get people in their bodies. But if you want to go a little bit deeper, there's a lot of, you know, deeper wisdom and understanding of really purifying the system in another way. It takes a lot more refinement because people want to have abs. They want to have all these things, and they're not really looking for the deeper aspect of like awakening or enlightenment or purifying their body on a deeper level. So that takes a specific practitioner and level of understanding for people who are really going to get that and really practice that and then see the benefits of those things. Because you're not going to get the external results. You're going to have more of these internal sensations and feelings by doing this practice, of doing it right. And I think that's also another important piece of doing it right, because a lot of people don't know how to do it. So since I've been doing this for over 10 years, it's kind of unfolded for me of the do's and don'ts of the practice.
It sounds lovely. I'm so excited again for you to share this, and thanks for being here.
Likewise, thank you.